we're here because what we're experiencing with Jesus is real. And so for me, I want to have a really real sound. I'm Brian Burch, and I have been a member of Our Lady of the Lake for almost 20 years. And in that time, I have been a member of Pastoral Council, and obviously I've been in the choir, and I am a cantor. My involvement with the organ goes back several years, almost a decade, and it has a lot to do with what does our church need to really feel like it is a Catholic church. And so a couple of us started talking, could we get an organ? Well, that starts first with, could we get someone that appreciates organ music and can really use that instrument to its fullest. In 2020, we had an opportunity to hire a new director of sacred music, and we were very fortunate to find someone who really understood the organ as its principal role in defining what the shape of music sounds like in a sanctuary. We started at that point to say, if you kind of give us that leadership of music, could we find a way to fill the space with a proper organ? And that is kind of where we are today. Many would say, why do we need this? Why isn't what we had before good enough? And I understand those thoughts. However, yes, it looks impressive, but the instrumentation inside of that box, call it that enclosure, it's like listening to a tape in an old Mazda versus listening to a record on an old, but revamped tube receiver system. It is so much warmer. It's so much deeper. I want to call it a juicier sound. I know that sounds ridiculous. I know it sounds ridiculous, but there's so much more fullness to what that sound is. And maybe people didn't hear it out here, but you could definitely hear it if you were in the cry room listening to the organ, or if you were in any of the speakers that are behind the choir, and some of those speakers were out and had a buzz, and that was constant as part of that sound. It wasn't a true sound. It was an artificial sound. The organ itself is an important instrument, and I like to think about it in this way. For a church, for sacred music, it first of all feels natural to have an organ playing during sacred worship. Second of all, played well, it fills the space. And so if you have a kind of vast sanctuary like we have here at Our Lady of the Lake, the organ does its job to really make the space feel expansive. And it allows that worship to be carried through all of us. You can kind of feel it, not even just right next to it, you can feel it out in the rest of the congregation as well. And so there's something about that. And not that we're here for any type of entertainment, but you do want to feel something, and that's what that music is intended to help move you through and into and deeper into the experience of worship. One of the things that I am crazy passionate about is authenticity in the Mass. We're here because what we're experiencing with Jesus is real, and so for me, I want to have a really real sound. Since I've joined this parish with my family, when it was just my wife and I, and now we have our kids who are serving regularly at the Mass, but we've worked to make changes at this church that help people understand that this is very much a Catholic church. So things like the big crucifix that we pushed hard to have in this worship space, to the organ, which again helps direct you and bring you in and focused on that Eucharistic encounter every Sunday or every holiday.